You go. Oh. Don't know if I need the. Oh, do I need the speaker? I think I need. I don't need that. Well, first I'm going to read a short story. It's in the book. Then I'm going to read 4 poems. Then a break of 20 minutes. And then read 4 more poems. And then ask any questions. So it should only be about an hour, including the 20-minute break.
Yeah.
Kind of an introduction first, just about how the book came about, and just a little bit about me, I guess. I'm actually named after a horse, Richard of Bordeaux. One of my dad lots of money when I was born, 33 to 1 shot. I think it was Goodwood, but on the day I was born he won loads of money. That's how I got called Richard. I'm the youngest of 5 brothers, 2 sisters. My brother died in 2000. Got really into punk in the 1980s. Not original punk, you know, but sort of second generation punk. That really affected me a great deal. I went to loads of gigs. Learned to read very late as a kid. I had to have special lessons from Miss Duval in primary school. That's probably why I'm not so good at punctuation and spelling and grammar at the moment. I started really badly as a kid. I had to have special lessons for it. And that's why it's amazing that I can do this now, because you know it was really tough at the time. I worked with people with learning difficulties for about 15 years before I did the nursing course. I did a psychiatric nursing course, but they only let me do half of it. So I wasn't killing patients or anything, but I had a bit too much to drink, and well, they lost out anyway. And after that I did a fine art degree at Southport, Liverpool Art College. Yeah, which I really enjoyed. It was tough. A girlfriend, when I was in my 30s, I had a girlfriend. She sort of was interested, she was into stuff I was writing, and she's really what got me started. And she encouraged me, and it was down to her really. She got me into Charles Bukowski. That's really what got me started. I was back when I was about 30 in the mid-90s. First got published about 6 or 7 years ago. Been published a few times, but I got in a compendium book with some other poets. And there are only 2 other poems in there that I really thought were better than mine. I mean, I'm not that I know much about it, but one of the guys who I thought they titled the book after him, Last Night's Dream Corrected, he became in charge of the publishing place who published me. That's how he knows me. Also from the internet, because I put a lot of stuff on the old MSN sites. So that's how he got to know me. And he's had about 3 or 4 books out. Sean Brabisi in America. And it was just an accident really. I was trying to get it published in underground books in New York, or get some poems published. But they said they could only do a certain amount, like 25 or something like that. And I had about 40. So it was just by chance that Sean got to hear about it. So he said just send it to him, which I did. And he said, oh, he'll publish them. I've had a bit of help with everything because my punctuation spelling is really rubbish. Go to a group called the Brown Room, normally meet up in the Gateshead pub, the Central Bar. and they've kind of helped me and, helped me to get things a bit better than what they were originally. And I've been going to scratch as well quite a long time. Well, I've been performing terribly. So that's about the introduction really. Now I think you've probably already heard this, but this happened in Granger Market. Yes. It's called the toilet incident. In the city, looking in a charity shop for some books to give us presents, found Castle McCullers, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, which is something I want to give to family and friends. So I had to get it. As I walked to the counter, I felt a huge surge down below. I walked in a very amusing way to the counter and prayed they could serve me at once, so as I could go to the toilet. They did, and I had white linen trousers on. I noticed that showed up any kind of wetness up immediately and glaringly, and wondered what the hell I would do if shit pants, and how embarrassing it would be. Stood at the side of the counter, holding my legs together, doing a kind of shimmy still dance, praying I could keep it in until book were given to me. Then ran to the nearest gents, angry when people got in my way. Someone noticed the anxious look on my face, and I looked at them and thought, Christ, I hope you never feel like I do. People seemed to be acting like they were out for a Sunday stroll. I was just about to shit myself with the wrong sort of pants on. That would show it all up, big time. It was about honour. Prayed the toilet would be vacant, and one seemed to be. Although closed, pulled down my easy to see if liquid has been spilled on them linen fashion pants, and prayed I was in time. The pulling down of the easy to see if you've shit yourself pants caused a chain reaction. And I prayed it would not make it to the trousers. They were easy to wear comfort linen pants that showed up big time if you shit yourself. I'd had diarrhea problems since taking up drink as a hobby. The dark liquid poured into my knickers and the floor and the walls and the toilet and everywhere. It was like an atom bomb, or me deciding humanity was not really for me. I prayed don't hit the trousers and looked down at my knickers, shoes, coat, belt and everywhere. My easy to spot diarrhea sufferer trousers, thankfully they seemed to be spared. I thought there must be a God, hoped it was a woman. As most men and I definitely stank when we had bad days out. In and out of hospital, I wished for hospital and not public humiliation. With my mental health issues, started clearing up, hoping the toilet paper would last. My knickers were unwearable and could not work out how I would take them off and put them in the bin outside without being seen. I had to think quick, like a Spitfire pilot under attack by Nazi scum. I worked out that I had to get my shoes off and then easy to see if you have shit yourself comfort linen trousers. Then I could maybe get the pants off. I worked out that I would need to clean all the shit up from the floor in order to stop it transferring to my trousers. When I pulled them down and off, but could not work out how I would carry the knickers to the bin without being seen or smelled. Subversion, I thought, tricked them, or maybe some form of subliminal hypnosis. Then a loud voice let out, "You had an accident, mister!" Yes, I replied, but I don't really want to discuss it in a public environment. I'll give you some spray and extra toilet paper. Thanks, I said. I'd run out of paper a long time ago. He threw them over the door, the locked prison I was in, and said, make sure you clean it all up. Yes, I replied, my body's giving up. Nothing's working right. The blood, puke, getting banned, the toilet problems that cannot be spoken of. I must be cursed, I thought. He's telling me I have had an accident like I was a 2-year-old. Not able to hold anything in. This feels like regressing. I had come up with a plan about the knickers, wrap them up in toilet paper. Maybe if I did it quick, people would not see me. So I cleaned up with the flour spray goodness and figured it would take me 15 seconds to make it to the bin. I went out like a French resistance fighter, thinking, don't see my dirty pants. And someone came by, and I'm not sure if they saw my shit pants. And I put them into the bin, and washed my hands many, many times, as if I had just got infected with a bad case of the OCD virus. Thinking what I went through in the name of getting the heart is a lonely hunter. It was probably worth it. At least that was spared. Cheers. I think you've all heard this one, but it normally gets a good reception, that's what I thought. But you probably know this from quite a long time back. It's about my old man, died in about 94. Father, Dad, Jack. Why do you call me Dad, son? Bet your slip's all bloody lost. Empty sherry bottles, fuse taken out of cheap record player plug, to prevent any fuss. To prevent fuss when drunk. He wanted it loud. Brian was a pensioner he described as a living dead person, miserable bugger, moan. He helped out his unemployed mental health monk, drinking chum. Funny family he really had. I visit an Irish boozing friend is there. Dad played in the tape I got him. The singing detective soundtrack. Laugh, almost cried. Dad laughed as well. Body ache type laugh. Thump, thump, thump in the armchair. He said I'd be giggling about it later. People would think me crazy. The idea of Dad sitting there with his boozing pal, complaining about miserable buggers, while the corny tape played about long-lost sweethearts. No life here, these bloody horses, these bloody pools, those bloody Tories, said whilst listening to all crooners talking about their lost true loves. It really made me laugh. Dad gave me a bar of chocolate at the end of the visit. I gave him a little money for cigarettes. In the hospital we did not really speak. He told me to keep warm up north. Still smoking like a factory, thought my back had gone. Dad was half dead, riddled with cancer, life out of eyes. Still moaning, there's no bloody life here. Watching the footy whilst moaning about Charlton's coaching skills. On crutches, he fell on the way to the toilet. Would not let me help him back up. He died soon after. It took many visits to the doctor before they felt the obvious lumps under his armpits. He was full of it. No one wants to touch a dirty old man. The bastards. Don't let the bastards get you down, son. Yes, Jack. Sorry, Dad. Cheers. Well, this one as well. But this is about my mum died about 6-7 years ago. Called the Seagull. A seagull was at the window looking into the hospital as my mother lay dying. It moved from left to right, closer and closer to my mother. Seemed to be looking in on how humans die, love and grieve. Had a Prozac dream last night. A seagull was outside. I pressed my hand up against the pane as though I could feel its feathers. I could feel its feathers through it. The seagull, as if knowing this, pressed its body up against the pane, up against the glass, as if wanting me to touch it, feel its living feathers. Maybe it was seeing the seagull as my mother lay dying, that lodged in my mind as an image of death, waiting, watching. My mother is now someplace else where I can't touch her, or see her flying as free as a sleepless bird, as free as the last death. Toward the end of the dream, the seagull put its wing through a crack in the window, a small gap, and I touched its long wings. It was like touching death and feeling its flapping wings, trying to escape, trying to come home. As if my mind could finally feel the reality of the situation. The reality of death along with its beauty. It was as though the glass that separated us was not just physical but mental. As I've not cried yet, the funeral is still to come. I pray and hope that I will cry then, even with my Prozac mind. I feel very alone because she was always there, no matter what the hell I was going through, always there. If I could put my mother's love into a box, it would be TARDIS-like. I'd be TARDIS-like. There would be some winning betting slips, red wine included, along with lots of love, hope, empathy and humour, and a strong desire for a better world, still to come. Cheers. Well, this one, it's kind of, it's to do with an old girlfriend really, mainly. Back in the early 80s, black lace gloves were very popular with young ladies, indie kids. It's also, I've had a lot of counselling as well, so it's kind of connected to that as well, and the sort of things, you know, we'll chat about sometimes, you know, when I've had it. Called black lace. We sat opposite each other. Do you believe in God, she says? Well, there must be one, but only shows herself when drunk and at end of tether, like most of the time, and has a sense of humour and pain. How long have you been afflicted, she says. Hell, I don't know, I say, it's always happening to me, like something stuck in the head. That needs to come out. Do you think you can be cured, she says. Well, hell yes, there must be some way, I say. But you always seem to drink when the affliction hits, she says. Yes, I say, the drink seems to help it come out. Like a waterfall in the spring, sided by stiff moss. Soft to touch like a woman's skin, smelling like a brand new sepia, sandalwood newspaper. You have not read, but know already what it says inside. Okay, she says, I get the picture. The phrases come to you upon sleeping. She says, yeah, that's the worst time, I say. Do you ever get images in your mind, she says. Yeah, all the time, I say. Is it to do with authority, she says. Hell, everything's to do with authority, I say. You don't like authority, she says. Hell, I just ignore authority, I say. How did you feel as a kid, she says. Little, I say. Do you think your affliction comes from pain? She says, yeah, drug pain, love pain, grief pain, maybe they're the same pain, I say. I mean, we are the only animal that knows it will die, apart from elephants, I say. Has it to do with conforming, she says. Yeah, conforming stinks, I say. Are you worried about love, she says. Hell yes, hell yes, I say. Love is suffering. Love is pain. Love is dreaming about the same person every night, even though you've been apart for 24 years. Always dreaming the same type of dream, like she was dead and you want her back. But the dream keeps on saying the same thing, that no matter how much you dream, that love is a spent force between the two of us, while also screaming, you miss her like you will miss breathing. So the two of you were close, she says. For 8 years we were like Bonnie and Clyde, on a crime-free love spree, inseparable, like fish and chips with salt and vinegar, I say. Apart from when she went over to Russia, I say. So what happened, she says. She wasn't happy with my affliction, I say. So she realised, she says. Yeah, but it had not got fully blown by that time, I say. Fully blown, she says. Fully blown, I say. So I let her go, I say. You let her go, she says. She used to wear these gloves, these black lacy gloves, I say. Black lacy gloves, she says. Yeah, that's right. Cheers. Right. Okay. You all know this one. I normally do this with the speaker, but because a lot of people didn't seem to understand, couldn't hear what was going on with the speaker, so I'll do it without the speaker and then I'll do it with the speaker. I don't know what I can say about this really. It's just something I got free with a Sunday newspaper, so you've got to be careful when you get free with the Sunday newspapers, you know. It's called Leprechaun. So anyway, I have a leprechaun, I've got it free with the Sunday papers. It keeps on talking, saying, go to the sales. What sales, I say? And it says, you know which sales. So I ring up my uncle in Nam. And he says, it was because I got it free. It keeps on coming out with this stuff. So I say to the uncle, Uncle, I say, Uncle, this little leprechaun is doing my head in. With all this talk of going to the sales. My uncle just says over and over again, paint it black, paint it black. And where is my mind? Where is my mind? Do you want the speaker version?
Yes.
Yeah. Psychotic speaker version. Okay. Yeah.
Keeps on talking. And go to the sales. What sales, I said? It says, you know which sales. I ring up my uncle in Nam. He says, it's because of this free. Keeps on coming out with this stuff. I say to the uncle, Uncle, I say, Uncle, this little leprechaun is doing my head in. All this talk of going to the sales. My uncle just says, over and over again, paint it black. And where is my mind? Where is my mind?
So do you want to have a little break or do you want me to carry on?
It's up to you.
Yeah, sure. I need to go for a pint at some point.
Sorry?
I need to go for a pint at some point.
Yeah. Just have a light, can we just have a 5-minute break? I can just have a ciggy or something.
Yeah.
I think you probably all know this one as well. I thought there'd be some other people here.
It's always nice to hear things again.
Yeah. This is so about my brother who died in about 2000. I don't know what I can say really. It's called Escaping Out. All we are left with is a husk, some dead meat, something to be put finally away at 50. No matter he made people love a little, brought them together to get all drunk and high. Smile and laugh, so does it hurt? After meeting with him and arguing about the merits of the Beatles and punk, what do you really remember, is the way he laughed. He'd sit on his hands and rock back and forth and rub his beard, as though he was trying to keep the laughter inside. Stop it from escaping out, while banging his hand on the table, counting the human heartbeats to his laughter. Maybe he was even trying to pass it on. Maybe that is really what he was trying to do. Not trying to do, but managing to do. Very well, thank you very much. I miss him. One of a one-off. He never got drunk, no matter how much he drank. His elderly ex-priest teacher wrote to my mother that God would be very pleased with his new friend. Cheers. Now this is a sort of serious one. I thought I should read it because people, suffer from stuff like this. And it's not really talked about. It's very sort of taboo, any sort of mental illness or anything like that. So I felt it's important to, it's important to talk about it, and sort of, shouldn't be locked away in the closet like. It's called My Trials as Jesus Mark II. Had a schizophrenic breakdown in 2003, started hearing different voices talking to me that were not real. It was not because of drink, I was not drinking much. Ended up thinking I was dead or in heaven or purgatory. Over a 2-week period, lost any sense of reality, hardly ate or slept. Had to go out, went to Tynemouth Beach on the metro. Don't know why, hardly ever go there. Overhead, a helicopter was hovering like in a film noir. Written in big letters on the sand were the words, "Hello, Rich." And next to it, someone had drawn a big key. My nickname at school had been Aki. And while studying for a fine art degree, I'd done a huge piece with many replica resin keys. Seeing my name on the key made me flip, and still does thinking about it. It is, was, and will forever be inexplicable. Was it a message from my favourite brother Mark, who died in 2000 from throat cancer, aged only 50? He used to call me Rich. Or a message from Cocker Spaniel, spelled backwards. First took 56 paracetamol, laid down to die on the bed. Ended up puking in the toilet the whole evening. Things got worse. Thought the voices were going to hurt my family. So threw myself off my balcony, 4 flights up from Biker Wall. Thought it would stop the voices hurting my family. Somehow landed with my fingers on the hard concrete. The digits popped out of my fingers and broke my leg. The pain is indescribable. Luckily, did not land on anyone. The kind man called an ambulance. Although I managed to ignore it most of the time. In the back of my mind, I wonder if I might be Jesus Mark II. My belief in God is greater, but I think she has long legs and a soft husky voice. Just call me Birdman, I'm kind of lucky. I can see why people use the lift now. Cheers. Just when I was over at the South Shields market, I was just coming back from there and saw this little old lady. It's called Zigzag Death. It was a strange day, people walking into me like I didn't exist. I'd been to the flea market looking in junk bins to see if I could come up with anything to make life seem like it was worth living again. Most of the time I did not feel like continuing with nothing to show apart from a hangover, vomit on the floor. Having a smoke outside the metro with a rucksack full of stuff I hoped would make me feel like continuing this once-in-a-lifetime fight without the feeling of needing to put a halt to it. An old lady came into my view in front of me. An Eastern European immigrant was playing his accordion just to the side of me, and it had heart and soul, collecting pennies. You could tell he did it because he loved it. The lady had a long black coat, plastic bag and furry cat hat. I could only see her back, but could tell she was getting on. by the way she walked and danced. Right in front of me she did a zigzag dance, with arms outstretched like a bird waiting to take off. She danced to the music, zigged and zagged in between shoppers, in between sad shoppers, who tried to ignore her, looking at her like she was insane. It felt wonderful that she could do this and not be locked up for doing it. No one said or did anything about her apparent lunacy. I was still in England. She came close to a shop, but zigged, zagged away from it. She had a bag attached to her arms, a gift to the gods maybe. If I'd been near to death like her, I'd not give a monkey's what people thought. If I'd lived a happy life like she hopefully had. I'd like to show what life really meant. Maybe it's not just about money, shopping, or giving a jot about how bad it can get. Perhaps at best, happy moments make up life when you do not care about what anyone thinks of you. How much money you earn, what car you own, how many kids you have, what places you go to escape living. I'd had a fine time picking up bric-a-brac for 50p, in an effort to keep on trying my best not to die again. The zigzag lady was a good sight, just trying to find a way, a reason to carry on with this earthly living shindig. She must be so close to copying it that it didn't worry her anymore. Wished I could be like her too, unafraid of Dr. D. As if it was just a little cliche to be overcome, like life is. The keys I'm hitting sound like bullets going off, like a wake-up call. That sounds good. Sometimes everything makes sense. You can even smile and wonder. Cheers. What's one to do now? Two. What's going to do? Yeah, I did this one. You did it quite recently with some of you. So. Just about two kids that I saw on the metro ages ago. If we are the lucky ones. There were two baby kids on the metro, 2 or 3 years old, in a double buggy. They were both sucking lollipops, which had almost disappeared. One of them started banging the red lollipop on his teeth, bang, 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 like it was banging out a drum beat to the sound of the metro. Then the other one started doing it, so both were doing it in tandem. One a boy, the other a girl. All kids do these amazing things, but sometimes we never notice. But I did. The girl gave me this huge smile as she was pushed off the metro, an unreserved smile that makes you wonder if it actually happened or imagined. Then I wonder all the time if real life is all imagined, especially the good bits. Because as human beings, our lives are a shorter distance than a squirrel's buried nuts. Surely we will, in the end, know more about death, and it might last a little longer. As in an eternity and a day than life does. But our reality realm is really death, not life. Life is for a short while, before death knocks us for 7, again and again. In life we see, smell, live, love, forgive, grow, grieve, remember, forget, suffer, dance, and grow roses down the avenues of the dead, if we are the lucky ones. Worship, shopping, sex and religion, and sometimes other people if we are the lucky ones, visiting Bukowski's love dog from hell. It makes you wonder how much it takes to make it happen, for us to be here, for A to meet B, and our ancestors are the one sperm that got through. And all the suffering they encountered to have their kids, and then their kids have their kids. And they suffered beyond what we can imagine to have us. And we somehow grow up into the essential human beings we are, if we are the lucky ones. Like it was so easy to be an essential human being. as though we were all unique individuals, kissing the face of death, whilst laughing with friends and family if we are the lucky ones that haven't seen them, as if death only happened to other people. Everything ends. Metro rides, even red lollipops, eventually. Who loves you, baby? Cheers. And I said, well, who wants to ask anything? I'll be happy to. If anyone wants to ask anything, that's all right.
Will you do one more story?
Sorry?
Will you do another story?
I haven't really got many stories.
What?
Poem.
Poem, yes.
Yeah. Which one? Yeah, this is really old, one of the first ones I had published. It was just a cafe I went to in Manchester. What was it? I think it was Levenshulme in Manchester. About the first one I got published, I think. It's called Shopfront Faced Laughing. It was a cold day, drizzling, late spring. I got my coffee and sat down. In front of me I could see the back of a bald-headed man, though not his face. Having not noticed his face when I entered, I wondered if he had one. While you never can be too sure, a young mum sat to the side of me with a toddler, explaining to the waitress what school she wanted to send him to. Noticed big grey patches of moisture on the cafe's front window, looking out onto the street, and at the top of the window of the shop opposite, the word heatwave in bold black letters on red. I clicked my camera twice. No one appeared to notice or laugh. I never did check if he had a face. Cheers. Yeah, well, should I do one more then?
Yes, please.
This happened when I was in Manchester. I went to a reservoir. I went going for sort of walks, long walks, and ended up in this reservoir. This is exactly what happened. It's called Big B Flat Minor Talk. Bird with crest, perched on tall grass beside Zephyr, swept clean reservoir undulating. Sang a little and darted into undergrowth, looking for something, anything to make it tick like you do. Its reed mate came by, crestless, as small as a B flat minor, looking for its partner, pointed to where she should go. B flat minor didn't take a jot of notice, looking at me like I was insane. Must have understood humans only want to destroy things of beauty, hardly ever see, wanting only to attain. Like we own them, God and everything, even B flat minor. As though we never hit the exit sign, lit up in smoky neon red. We were born to enter, mostly half alive, dead. Had a chat with P flat, squeezing lips together. So they quivered, vibrated, replying to her twitterings. Every time she made two, I made two, and so on. We seemed to get along fine, even though I could not sing as well as she could. Tiptoed on top of strong, silent-type grass, shivering its nakedness in the slate breeze. Most intelligent conversation I ever had, or will have. B flat knew just about everything there was to know. Secrets we had forgotten. I smacked lips together, squeezing out chit-chat. A couple appeared, looking at me as if I had escaped from somewhere. They hide the keys from you. B flat pretended she didn't know me, the creep. Disappeared without so much as a thank you. To find her partner, and I had no one to talk to again. But the Zypher's breath felt fine and good, and I had some left, even inside the inside. Cheers. What do you want? Do you want just one quickie then? This happened outside Michael Library, quite recently actually. It's quite a recent one. This. The birds. Kids come flying out of the library. Earlier, I saw one of them chucking out DVDs with the DVD shelves onto the floor, flinging them all out, like they were angry with them just for being DVDs in a library setting, which was kind of funny in an archaic way. So they come out and make indeterminate movements like birds and arrive on a small section of Hadrian's Wall and act like it's Bird Victory Day. And I'm smiling inside because it is so funny and life-affirming. And life sure is short of that sort of stuff at present. Because I get drunk some nights and sometimes puke and play my music loud or not, and sometimes I cannot remember if I have, which makes it even worse for me. And I start to wish I was a bird like them and could fly away with another bird to make a Hadrian's Wall Bird Victory Day nest. Cheers. Books will be sold in the foyer for £6.50 each.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for turning up.